Deputy McDonald. Deputy McDonald, please. Thank you. Deputy McDonald, please. I don't think you're Deputy McDonald, are you? Oh, the gentleman.
Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. Tánaiste, as from Monday, letters from the Revenue Commissioners will land in the homes of 1.6 million households across the state, demanding payment of a tax on their family home. And as you know, this is a tax that takes no account of ability to pay, no account of those in negative equity, those who paid massive stamp duty, or the 180,000 families currently in mortgage distress. It is, of course, and let's acknowledge, a tax championed and proposed by Fianna Fáil and now implemented by Fine Gael and Labour. A tax with no waivers, a tax for which the exemptions are quite frankly a joke. The family home tax is a draconian piece of legislation, and it takes no account of the impact of this additional bill on families where people are at work, families where people are out of work, on the elderly, and on the economy at large. And you're pursuing actively a policy that will drive people into debt and will drive some into poverty. So, Tánaiste, I want you to set out for us the approach that will be taken in the event of non-payment or non-compliance with this tax on the family home. Can you confirm to the Dáil that the Revenue Commissioners, with the backing of government, will move to deduct this family tax from people's social welfare payments, from their wages, from their bank accounts, from their credit union accounts?
Thank you. Tánaiste.
Well, first of all, the Revenue Commissioners will commence next week in sending out communications to householders, informing them of the estimate that the Revenue Commissioners have put on the property tax which will be required to be paid. What will then happen is each householder will have the opportunity of making a return to the Revenue Commissioners and declaring themselves what they understand the value of their property to be for the purposes of the property tax. The Revenue Commissioners will be pursuing an information campaign beginning next week, informing householders about the steps that they can take to make that declaration, and indeed the steps that they can take where letters have been issued either in error or where they've been issued in duplicate form, because up to now, or up to relatively recently, there hasn't been a full database of properties that are owned in the state. So what we are dealing with next week and over the next number of weeks will be a period of time where householders can contact the Revenue Commissioners if the estimate is considered to be inaccurate or wrong. They can make a declaration as to what the value of their property is, and I would encourage everybody who gets a communication from the Revenue Commissioners to make that contact with the Revenue Commissioners where they believe that the information that is sent out to them is in any way either inaccurate or overstated or wrongly stated. The Revenue Commissioners, of course, this is a tax measure which is required to be collected. The Revenue Commissioners are the authority who collect tax in the country. And as with all taxes, which are the responsibility of the Revenue Commissioners, they will use the methods that are available to them to ensure that the tax is paid. And I'm sure that Sinn Féin, along with every other party in the House, will encourage everybody to be tax compliant.
Deputy McDonald, thank you.
Tánaiste, I asked you very specifically about the measures that will be pursued in the event of people not paying the tax. And just on your issue of tax compliance and the sniggers from your backbenchers and indeed some of your front bench. The issue here, excuse me, the issue here is not people not wishing to be tax compliant. That's not the issue here at all. The issue here, Taoiseach, is that there are a vast number of people who simply cannot afford this tax. And it's for that reason that your government, and don't try and lay this on the revenue commissioners, the legislation rushed through this House by Labour and Fine Gael will allow this family tax to be taken from social welfare payments, from people's wages, from their bank accounts and from their credit union accounts. Now, I know that some of you are sort of in the land of Nod or on a parallel universe. That much is clear from the government benches. But how on earth can you justify or defend a situation where the state, the government, through the revenue commissioners, will put their hands into the pockets of people who are struggling, will deduct this tax from a social welfare payment, a job seeker's allowance or an old age pension, take it from people's wages that have been cut.
Thank you,
or worse still, put your hand, reach the government's hand into people's bank accounts and credit union accounts. How do you defend that? And don't give us the line on tax compliance and smart aleck rhetoric from that side of the House. People don't have it. Do you grasp that? And how do you defend, Taoiseach, a system whereby people who are struggling will have the hand of government put into their pockets? If ever there were a case of really heavy-handed tactics by a government and a state against the citizens, if ever there were a case of big brother government, this certainly is it. So forget about the revenue commissioners. You're in charge. You defend for us those measures.
Well, first of all, this tax is a much smaller tax than the property tax, which Sinn Féin has no difficulty with north of the border. But then, you know, Sinn Féin's. It's okay. It seems to be. Do as I say, not as I do. You know, it seems to be okay for the deputy to get up and to lash around any political.
Sorry. Shh. Would you please? Thank you. Taoiseach. Sorry, Deputy Ferris. Would you please afford that?
Yeah. No. It's fine. It's fine. I can't call it. Sinn Féin have always been ambiguous about free speech. And you know, it seems to be okay. It seems to be okay.
No, please. I'd like the same protection to all sides of the House. No, please. Thank you.
I just want to reply. I mean, Deputy McDonald seems to think that it is okay for her to get up and lash any political charge, but you know, when one replies in kind, there seems to be a problem with that. The reality. I'm answering the question. If you give me the opportunity. I'm quite happy to answer the question, but please listen to the answer. The reality is that this property tax is nowhere near as high as the property tax that Sinn Féin has no difficulty in defending north of the border. But Sinn Féin's hypocrisy has no boundary, either in terms of debate or in terms of territory. And as far as the collection of this tax is concerned, there are well-established mechanisms for the collection of tax. This is a responsibility of the revenue commissioners. They are doing a campaign which is beginning next Monday of informing householders what their estimate is of what the valuation of properties are and what the tax liability is going to be. There will be a period of time within which householders can engage with the revenue commissioners about that. If somebody thinks that they've got the Revenue Commissioners have got it wrong, they can go back to the Revenue Commissioners, make their declaration to the Revenue Commissioners about the value of their property, and then that is what it will be assessed on. So there's going to be a period of time where householders will be able to engage with the Revenue Commissioners in relation to the issue. Now, perhaps one of the things that Sinn Féin might address is I note that there is a campaign urging people not to pay this tax and not to cooperate with it. And we've yet to hear whether Sinn Féin supports that campaign or not, or whether, like other parties in this House, whether like other parties, whether like everybody else, Sinn Féin is going to encourage householders to be compliant with the tax. The Revenue Commissioners.
Would you please? You demand silence when you're speaking. So
the method of collecting taxes and the powers that are available to the Revenue Commissioners, where a tax is not paid, are well known, and the question is whether you support those or not.